Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in today's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest and super great episode of The Walking Dead. Wow, this show has come such a long way over such a long period of time. The show, like our characters, transform and change, sometimes for the better, sometimes not so for the better. But I think today's episode was definitely one for the better. Now, before I get into all of that, please be warned, this is a spoiler-filled review. So, if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead by the latest episode, which is technically the episode that dropped today on AMC Plus, not the one that's dropping later today on regular AMC, which is episode 118, I'm about to review episode 119. So, sorry, 1119. So, don't keep watching or listening if you haven't seen it yet. For God's sakes, I'm going to be dropping serious spoilers left and right throughout this entire thing. So you have been warned. That being said, let's dive right back into it. First and foremost, this episode had the formula to make any good episode, in my opinion. You had pretty heavy character-driven moments and scenes between characters, like through dialogue and whatnot. And then you had an impressive zombie action sequence with some memorable kills, some close calls, and it was a healthy balance of excitement and drama. So let's talk about the drama first. Something that I've always liked about this show is that characters who have been through trauma, lost loved ones, or just been through trauma of any kind, even if they haven't lost the love of their life or just someone they cared about, if a character is going through a similar predicament like they once were in, they can advise, guide them, lead them almost, and try to steer them in the right direction instead of going down the path that they went. And I love that's what Aaron tries to do for Lydia. She and Elijah clearly like each other, so there's a budding romance there. But Lydia doesn't know how to handle or deal with this because her mother, Alpha, was such a useless waste of a mother and didn't prepare her for, becoming a young woman and falling in love and whatnot. And so Aaron, remembering the love of his life, Eric, which feels so long ago, but really it was only 4 or 5 years ago it was. Wow. I love how he was able to use his own experience to try to help guide Lydia to the right path or right direction. And it feels like it worked because she and Elijah exchange a few kisses at the end of the episode once all the walkers are dead. Speaking of the walkers that are dead, and now on to the impressive action sequence. Holy shit, since when did Jerry become a hell of a swordsman? I mean, that was impressive. It was well done. It was well filmed. And Jerry is just an overall badass. He's like a gentle giant, but who's also a giant badass as well. So that was awesome. I also love how they introduced a new breed of walker. I don't know if they have a name for them yet, but they're not necessarily smart walkers, but they seem more capable where they can climb and open doors and use tools like a rock or something. And I guess, Angela King, the showrunner, said it's like a throwback to season 1 of this show when we saw walkers trying to climb up ladders and use a rock to break through a store window or something. And I think that's really cool to enhance the threat that the walkers already pose, that always pose to our characters in this world. But now they change it slightly, so now they're even more dangerous, which makes it even more entertaining, more exciting for us, the viewers. So I like that. And then getting back to the drama, I loved the scene between Mercer and Princess using her own painful family experiences, comparing it to what the Commonwealth is like and why she can't stay, why she has to leave. And Mercer, Michael James Shaw, did such a great job in this episode. I loved how Mercer, throughout this whole episode, kept finding himself in complicated positions. Literally, his loyalties are being torn between his loyalty to the Commonwealth and the loyalty to his new friends like Daryl, Rosita, their allies and friends. And he knows Commonwealth is corrupt. He knows it's rotten to the core, but it's like he's not ready yet to stand up to it, and he's still enabling and being part of that system, even though that system is broken. But I do love how he seems to be getting slowly, ever so slowly, leaning more and more towards our main character side rather than remaining loyal to Commonwealth. Speaking of Commonwealth, I really thought for a second there Pamela was going to kill Sebastian. She was creepily grazing his cheek or whatever. I thought she was going to pull a knife and stab him in the throat for having his people kill a bunch of workers and then basically cause walkers to be inside the walls, and which led to the death of her dipshit son. But I guess now she sees Lance as a useful asset in dealing with Alexandria and the hilltop communities and our main characters, since Lance is like a dirty dog and gets down and dirty and doing the dirty work of the Miltons, like he was kind of doing before, but he was also doing it for himself. But now it seems like she's willing to forgive all that if he's going to be useful to her. And I guess a way to prove himself is to feed the corpse of one of his henchmen to her now reanimated son, Ick. Because at first I thought, oh, was she just toying with him and is she going to set loose her walker Sebastian on him? Oh, no, she's going to have him feed him. Oh, okay, Ick. That's one way to prove your loyalty. Great. But that was an interesting little turning point for the plot. What was the other thing I really liked? Oh, Eugene. Eugene had a great arc in this episode. You know, he's had a hell of an arc of this series overall. And I do love how much he's truly changed and transformed. You know, he went from being this quivering, lying coward to being a capable, handy, brave, caring man. And he does something probably for one of the few times in his life that's super selfless, which is turns himself in, saves and exonerates Max, even though it means probably his own death or execution if it comes to that. But I'm sure our heroes won't let that happen, or at least they'll try not to let it happen. And I love how by that act of doing so, by turning himself in, makes Mercer ever more likely to switch sides and not be so loyal to Milton or the Commonwealth and join our heroes, since Eugene just saved his sister's life. And I noticed that, and I really liked that. And I liked how conflicted Mercer looked when he gave the order to take Eugene into custody. So, man, this show knows how to do conflict well. You know, it's like I've said before, this episode is a prime example of complex characters in appalling situations. And this episode was a prime example of that, and I hope you guys feel the same way. Did you guys enjoy this episode as much as I did? What did you think of it? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings on it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day if I don't see you. The Walking Dead drops its final episodes every Sunday on AMC Plus and AMC, usually a week apart, with the series finale dropping on November 20th of this year. Have an awesome rest of your day, everyone. Stay safe out there. And of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.